Hello, I'm Leanne from Crafter's Companion, and in this little video I'm going to be showing you how to put together our Enchanted Garden Build-A-Scene die set. I think I said garden there. I actually mean garden, of course. So this is a brand new collection that we're launching, and they're really unique and innovative because you can create this wonderful tunnel book effect with all of those different layers and perspective, where you can build from the background all the way up to the front, and you can see how beautiful and dimensional they are. An Enchanted Garden I do think is one of my favourite designs. I say that with everyone I pick up, so you'll have to forgive me. So what exactly do you get? So that's what you're going to be able to create. You get a wonderful set of dies which gives you all of the elements to create that fantastic tunnel book effect. What do the dies look like? Well, in the Enchanted Garden collection, this is what the dies look like. You get all of these, and the really unique feature is that the dies do not cut on the bottom edge. What do I mean by that? Well, let me show you the little fairy here. So the fairy will cut out, but her feet will remain intact in the bottom piece of the card, which is what allows you to build up this wonderful effect, positioning all of the little elements wherever you would like to position them. It's also a significant time saver for you, because if you think about cutting every one of those little seed heads out and then trying to glue them in place without getting glue smears all over, it would be really difficult. The same with our little delicate daisies here. So you can see by cutting that one die on a piece of rectangular card, it cuts out the daisies, but it leaves them intact on the card, so they're nice and solid and rigid, and allows you to position them wherever you would like in that beautiful design. So that's what a Build-A-Scene card set is all about, and I'm going to show you how to put it together now. I have got a couple of other YouTubes where I show you in detail exactly how all of the different layers work using our Kiss and Gate design, so go and have a look at that one if you're interested. And there's also a little video on there showing you all of the different dies in the range and what you can expect to get from them, so go and have a look at that one as well. But just to get on with the job in hand, because what you want to see is the card being made, I thought we'd just get straight on with it. So what do you need to start? Well, to start you need 2 pieces of card which have been cut to 5.5 inches square, and then you also need 2 pieces of card which have been cut to 5.5 inches long by 2 inches wide, and then scored at every 1/4 of an inch and folded in the fan style. So you've got a concertina there, and you need 2 of those, 1 for either side of the card. Once you've got those, then all you need is some scraps of card in different colour, or scraps of card in white, and you can colour it in yourself, as I've done with this one. And this is what we're going to be making in this little video demonstration, and you can colour those into your heart's content. So let's start. I've got here for my base, from one of our Sarah ranges, a piece of card which has butterflies on one side and polka dots on the other. In this card, I decided to use the polka dot. I think for this one, I might use the butterflies. Let's mix it up a little bit. So I've got my piece of card, and then all I need to do is run 2 glue lines down the parallel sides here, down the opposite sides. And that's to glue in place the concertinas. So you're going to take your concertina and you're going to position your card into the first valley slot that's been created. Let me get my hands right, I want to get that in. There we go, position that in. Now you use a wet glue at home. I'm just going to stretch that out a little bit so it doesn't catch, so I can show you. There we go. You use a wet glue at home, but I'm just using a tape pen for speed. Of course, if you've got Crafter's Companion tape pens, then you can use those because they're super strong, but if you don't, use a wet glue. And then I've got the same on this side, so I've got my tape pen on the back side here. You can see that's sticky. I'm just sliding that into my first valley on my concertina and then nipping that in place. And what that does is create my base card for me. And make sure you do keep giving your little side panels, your little concertinas, a nice good squeeze. They want to be lovely and crisp, and that creates the basis of your freestanding card base. So that's ready now to start decorating. I wanted to show you how to cut one of those designs, and let's do it with the fairy, because I think it's important that you see this so you really understand what I mean. So I've got a piece of square card and I'm going to position my fairy about there for the design. Obviously I don't need a piece of card this big because she's coming quite a way down there, and I won't need any of this here. So you can be frugal and use smaller pieces of card from your stash, but this is the piece that I've got to hand, so I'm using that. You never want her to be on the bottom like this when you're positioning your dies. You always want to give them some perspective, so even just a little way up, and that also gives them support because they're left in the surrounding card. So never go right to the bottom edge. That's not the way they'll work best. Always lift them up and position them away so that you've got some space to glue that in place, and that will become obvious in a second when I start putting it together. So position her where you would like her, and then build up your sandwich for the die cutting machine that you're using. I'm using my Gemini. Oh, and do notice here that I'm cutting down into my plate and then building my sandwich back to front. That's so I can see exactly where I'm positioning it. It really is just helpful for deciding where she's going to appear on the piece of card. Build up your sandwich and pop it through your machine. Okay, so now when I remove her from there, when I remove that die and poke out the little pieces, what you will see is that my little fairy has remained in the card, and that's the really unique and innovative thing about these dies not having a bottom cutting edge, because it means you can position her anywhere in the scene on the card. So she doesn't just have to be there, she could be here walking out of the card, she could be in the middle, she could be just walking in from the design at the far end here. She can be positioned literally anywhere in that full width, as can all of the elements that have no bottom cutting edge, and none of them do. Okay. So then what you would do to get the hill or the ground that she's walking on, if you want it to be straight, use a ruler and a craft knife. But she's in the garden and nothing's really straight in the garden. So we're going to decide where we're cutting and then just freehand a line up to her toe. You see there she comes away. And then on this side we'll do the same. So just decide, just cut a line down to there. Those pieces come away. And then you would do exactly the same with this piece here, and I find it easier to bend that away and then from the reverse snip, which means you don't get her toes. And there we go, we've got our little fairy who's walking along a hill in the garden. How fab's that? And that's how you build all of the different positioning pieces. All of the bits in the die set work in exactly the same way. So fast forward that with the smallest pair of scissors in the world to my coloured pieces. So I've got my card base that I've already started to put together, and then I've got all of my pieces left that I'm going to start building up. So in the background I've got some of these lovely little dandelion poofs. I don't know their real name, dandelion seed heads, let's call them that. So to position it, we're going to put a little bit of tape, let me move that out the way, on the reverse, on the left and right. So again, if you've got a good tape pen, use that. If not, use a wet glue. And then you're going to go to the first valley in your concertina. So you're looking, here's the mountain, there's the valley. And let me just explain that to you. So if you're not sure of what those are when we're talking about that in card making terms, the point up is the mountain, the point down is the valley. So mountain, valley, mountain, valley, mountain, valley, all the way along. We're going to stick all of our pieces in the valleys. So we'll take our first piece to the first valley, see where we want to position it, and I want them to be there so that those dandelion seed heads are at the top of the design. Stick it in place on that one, line it up in the same place on this valley here, and then just do that, and that's stuck in place. And that's our first layer. My second layer is my seed heads. See those there, and you can see what I'm doing here is with the white card, all I've done is colour it with our sparkle pens, and it looks beautiful, especially on this design because they've got that lovely shimmer on it. So exactly the same, little bit of tape or wet glue on the back on the two sides. Decide where you're positioning it, and I want to do it there, so I'm going to stick that, find the exact same place in the next valley over the opposite side, move that in place, squidge it down. And there you go. That's my second layer. Same with my daisies. They're going to build my third layer. A little bit of tape either side, left and right. On the next valley, decide where I'm going to put that. And actually, it doesn't have to be the next valley. It could be the same one, just at a different height to build the perspective. And actually, I'll do that with this so you can see that. So I'm going to go into the same valley as I had for the seed heads, but I'm just going to move it down a little bit. Same position over here. And then I've got an extra layer in there with those daisies, but they went into the same valley space. And I wanted to show you that as well because I think that's important. So you see how you could build lots of layers from coming down. It doesn't just have to be one layer on each level. You could have several. The final layer that I've got is the little fairy that you've just watched me cut out. So you can see there she was on white card, coloured in with some of our Spectrum Sparkle pens, and she's ready to be popped in place now. So that's going to happen in exactly the same way. A little bit of tape left and right. Decide where you would like her to be. In the last valley, push that in place and just squeeze it down. Could not be easier. There we go. So you can see how we're starting to build up that scene there. And then the final layer is the most beautiful creator card frame. I'm just going to put it on that white card so you can see how lovely that is. So that's a really delicate garden frame that's being cut out and then coloured with our Spectrum Sparkle pens. So you've got this beautiful frame that's going to go on the top here. Just before I do that, you have got an extra decorative piece in here, which is this beautiful garden bunting, which is little flower heads. You can stick that flat in the background if you'd like, or what I wanted to show you is we've made it long enough so that you can suspend it and have it dangling in the garden. And that works with all of the bunting options that we've included across all of the designs. So if I wanted to do that, all I would need to do is put a little bit of my glue, and at this point a tape pen would not be good enough. You would need a wet glue, but for the purposes of speed for this demonstration, we're going with the tape pen. On either side, choose the layer you would like it to be on. Oh, it's alive. So I'm not going to go last layer, I'm going to go second layer there, valley. Let's see if I can get that stuck in. There we go. And actually I'm going to drape that down, and this is the beauty of this, so that it dangles on a diagonal, and stick that in place there. And when I pick that up, you can see it's like the little bit of floral bunting is being draped across the garden, and it actually bows out. So it's got beautiful movement and dimension into it. It isn't just a flat something that's been stuck down. It can be if you want, but it most certainly doesn't have to be, and it wasn't designed to be. So you can see how that adds to the design. The final layer is our creator card that I've just explained to you, and what you will do with that is put glue on the left and right hand sides only. And again, wet glue or a Crafter's Companion tape pen. Okay, glue left and right hand sides only. And then this is the final finishing off of my card. So I just take my time and carefully line this up on that final piece of concertina. Trying to do it so you can still see, but it's in the right place. There we go. Nip that in place there. Beautiful. And then the same on this side. So we're going to line it up on that final piece of concertina there. Nip it in place. And when it's all nipped in place, then we've got our pretty card. And of course you could add a little bow on if you wanted to. So how quick and easy is that? And you can see all of those beautiful layers and dimension that come together there. Here's the one that I did earlier, which is very similar. You see the little bow at the bottom. So that's what you're going to be able to create using our brand new Build a Scene dies. There are 5 designs. Go and check them out on the Crafter's Companion website. 2 other videos for you to watch, one with a kissing gate and one just explaining the whole range. So go and have a look at those as well. And please do share on social media what you make with your Build a Scene dies, because I know they're going to be exquisite.